Hi guys, Jurassic Junkie here, and it's not the end of the world. Welcome to the Friday Night Run. So it's Christmas, I've got my hat on. We'll see how far we're going before that annoys me. Probably I say about 5 minutes or so. I've got all my presents done. For the first time ever, I actually ordered all my stuff and I've got it before my normal thing of running out on New Year's Eve and trying to get all the different presents. But one thing I just want to say, nothing game related, but I just want to point this out. Joe ordered some very fancy wrapping paper. Just one sheet of it. That's it. That's all it is. Just one piece. And the box that it turned up in is this mammoth. John Lewis sent one piece of wrapping paper in a box that big, so well done John Lewis for your carbon footprint and all that one. You're doing your boss. So before we crack on, let's wet the whistle. And along the Christmas theme, we're going to go with Snowman's Revenge. So this is apparently, I think it's a beer, a delicious chestnut bitter with a full malt character and finished with a delicious balance of white bread hops. So we'll see what this is all about. Not bad, not amazing, but yeah, definitely drinkable. That's not too bad actually. So before I go on to the massive thing that I want to talk about this week, I'm just going to touch upon Nintendo again. And what it is Nintendo are still doing great sales really on the Wii U. Great sales don't always mean a success of the Wii U, because remember back in the day when the Vita came out, back in the day, sounds like it was years ago, but when the Vita first came out, that had amazing start, but just didn't finish through. People wasn't buying it towards the end. And now obviously everyone that intends to buy a Wii U is probably going to go out and buy a Wii U, or they're going to be buying it for Christmas. But the point is, the people that are holding back like me are waiting for those games or for a reason to buy it, and I feel like there's probably a lot of us. And for one, I've just learnt now that the actual Wii U controller only has 3.5 hours of charge. Some people might argue the toss and say 4, but the point still stands. 4 hours isn't very long to use the pad, and after that you have to then charge it. But the Wii U cannot actually charge the controllers, so you have to have it on a separate cable, and obviously that means a separate power point, and if your power point's always occupied by the Wii U, that means you're going to have to plug it in separately in a different location, which is a bit stupid. So there's a few things that are making me go, I still don't want to buy that Wii U yet. But as I was saying, sales are good of the Wii U, but what I'll do is I'll just put a little graphic up on there at the moment, and that is actually the stocks for Nintendo. So this is dating for the last 3 years, and at the start, 3 years ago, at the high point of March 2010, the shares was actually worth $40, and now closing as of the 17th of this month, they're only worth $13.3. So they actually are going downhill, and I think the main reason behind that is simply games. I don't know, one thing I don't understand. Zelda, like you've chucked your Mario out all the time, and Zelda's one of your big franchises. Why the hell was there not a Zelda on release? Like, you're showing it as a tech demo as well. And why on earth you just didn't have Zelda there on the get-go? So when I'm talking about release titles, I want to just talk about this graph that I found today, and I find it quite interesting. It's somebody's gone through all the Metacritic data, gone through all the games and everything like that, and what they've done is just looked at games on launch for each different console, and what you'll see is the length of the bar is how many actual games they had, and the actual dot in the middle is the average rating for each game. Now, if you actually look at the top of the list, you can see straight away there, you've got GameCube at the very top, 360 coming in at second, and the N64 underneath that. So that is Nintendo being practically dominating the very top of the charts. But then you go right down to the bottom, and the bottom three is the Wii U, the Wii, and the PlayStation 1. So Nintendo also dominating the bottom, which is a bit weird because it's the old stuff is at the top of the charts, but the new stuff is at the bottom. And this is what I've always been saying, Nintendo lack games on release. And this graph just points out they are actually, the last two consoles they've done are the worst out of all the consoles so far. So it just proves that there's proof in the facts. This isn't me just bashing Nintendo. They are doing crap release games. But that's aside, that's my Nintendo side of the rant. Like I say, I just reporting on facts and figures there. I'm not actually saying they're definitely going to go under or anything like that, but the point is the shares are going down, so obviously that's never a good thing. So the big thing I want to talk about, World War Z. So World War Z, for anyone that doesn't notice, is a complete rip-off of DayZ, or DayZ, how people like to say it. Now, DayZ, for anyone that doesn't know, is just a Arma 2 mod which is completely free. I've played it, I've put lots of videos online, it's an absolutely great survival, amazing game. But the guys behind Warzy have gone, you know what, we're going to cash in on this, and we're going to actually make a proper standalone game like DayZ's going to be doing very soon. And what we're going to do is charge for it and actually put loads of microtransactions inside the game as well, which is a bit of crap really, because I don't mind paying fully for a game and I want all that game, or I don't mind a free game and then just put loads of microtransactions inside. I don't want to pay for a game and microtransactions at the same time. But the point stands that this game, the copy game, has now been released, and obviously a lot of people have gone, do you know what, I'm going to snap it up. So it's gone really well on Steam, everyone's actually gone and paid for the game, and then they start playing it. So the first thing that people was complaining about is actually on Steam, it was saying that the players have skills, the map size is 400 kilometers and there's private servers. But then we found out later private servers actually mean private servers later that don't exist at the moment. And at the same time people were saying well, it's not actually 400 kilometers, and people said actually it's 100, and then somebody actually walked the map and says it's actually 9.7 kilometers. So there's a lot of arguing saying the actual full size of this map, but the point stands the description is incorrect. So straight away they went along and changed the description on Steam. So straight away, not a great start. Then this is the beauty. I like all week I've been looking on Reddit, people have been going nuts. I'm like, something obviously must be really bad about this game. What is it? So I did a bit of searching, and this is just disgusting. What will happen is when you start your game, you go through and say you die. What will happen is you can't instantly spawn back in. What they say is you're going to have 5 characters, so if you die in character 1, that's it, he's dead, and then you go to character 2 and go all through the 5. But the first character that died, he can respawn back in after 60 minutes. There's a 60-minute waiting period for each character to die, and that is quite bad. But then I thought, you know what, that probably is quite bad, so they released a patch and changed it to 4 hours. So now your characters can't spawn back in for 4 hours after you die. So you've got 5 characters and 4 hours for each one of them. But that works out roughly just under an hour per character. And when I first started playing Days, you would die within about 5 minutes. It's a very steep learning curve, and I would assume this game is quite the same. So instantly, as soon as you get in there, you're dead. If it takes out all 5 characters, sit back, you can't play the game for another 4 hours, unless you actually want to instant spawn. And the instant spawn brings in the microtransactions. The way it works is to actually spawn back in is going to cost you 50 gold coins. In the actual world you can find gold coins, they're very rare, you can't find lots, and there's not going to be enough of you to actually stockpile up and just keep randomly spawning your characters, so that's not doable. They're just thrown in there really, it's just a token gesture. But the point is, if you want to actually spend the 50 points to actually spawn your character, you're going to have to buy that, and to do so that costs around about 40 cents. And the thing is, they've done the same thing as that Microsoft do, where you can't buy the exact amount of points you want, you have to buy them in groups, and the smallest group they actually do is $5. So in other words, as soon as you start this game, you've probably forked out £15, I think it is. I could be wrong how much it costs, but you've paid the money, you've gone straight in, 5 characters dead, that's it, you can't play it for 4 hours, unless you want to pay another £5, get back in the game again. So straight away, everyone was in uproar. And on top of that, they're actually claiming that the cheat system is flawless, which I would never say that. Even if I was the best programmer in the entire world, I'd never say that. I'll never let them words come out of my mouth, because there's always somebody there to prove you wrong. But at the same time, they've actually banned 3,000 players. So if they've got a flawless cheat system, why are they banning people? Because obviously they can't find exports because it's flawless. So these 3,000 people are all kicking off, and probably some of them are using exploits, but don't get me wrong, but some of them, and they've actually gone back to Reddit and said, look, I did nothing wrong, I didn't cheat, I didn't do anything, what's the problem? And the actual company that's made the game was turned around and said, they're all liars, they're all cheating, and kind of just brushed everyone off, and that was it. So straight away you're thinking, that's a bit correct response from you as well, but it keeps going. Because people are now actually leaving the game and saying, you know what, I don't want to actually play it. Obviously, because they've brought it from Steam, they've given it a bit of a review and says, I've left this game because, for instance, you have to pay money to keep playing it. And they've actually turned around now and says, you cannot give us a bad review, or else we'll block you and delete it all off Steam. So everyone that's actually been saying the game is bad is being actually removed by them, apart from one person managed to slip something in, which I'll show a picture up above, and what he's done is he's not actually slated the game, so therefore this post has actually been left online. But if you cleverly look down the side, you'll actually notice it says the words, help me, it's awful. So that's the only way someone's managed to get the actual message out there on Steam without it being banned. So to keep it going, they've now changed their terms and conditions, let me have a little wet, to simply say, once you agree to the terms of service of the end user license agreement for the game, the EULA, and once the service of the game commences, you will no longer be eligible for a refund of any amounts. So As soon as you start playing that game, you're not allowed your money back. But obviously that is ridiculous because the way they've actually marketed it, it didn't actually go across saying this kind of thing. So also, on top of it, to keep this getting even more ridiculous, there's a splash screen, which is obviously going to be used for like loading screens or wallpapers or backgrounds on websites. So their splash screen is featuring just some zombies going forwards as they normally do. And somebody who is a Walking Dead fan pointed out that those zombies are actually Walking Dead zombies, and they've just completely lifted them, chucked them into Photoshop and just changed the colours a little bit and put it on. So it's actually stolen work from Walking Dead chucked into the game. They didn't even use their own zombies, which they could have even done. So, with all that kicking off and everyone going, this is the worst game ever made and I can't believe you've done this and you've robbed us and you've missold it and everything, Steam have turned around and gone, right, pulled the game completely, says to everybody, if you want refunds, we'll give you a full refund, which is absolutely amazing for Valve to do that. So again, thumbs up for Valve. We always give you thumbs up. I don't know why it's we, it's me, but yeah, all of us give you thumbs up, Valve, because it's good of you to notice that this is a terrible thing that they're doing. So refunds are being issued. At the same time, the bastards, let's say, the World War Z, have actually turned around and says, well, you can come to us for refunds, you can contact our technical support. And people have contacted the technical support, and here's a screenshot, and it simply says, here is my receipt number, I'd like a refund, and they instantly get the message, bye, and the chat session closed. So it's amazing, and I've also seen some other pictures of people talking about it on the forums, and it says, you've been banned, you f***ing whining bastard, and it's just outrageous the way they've actually dealt with this. So at the moment everyone's asking for refunds and it looks like this game is just going to sink. So that's an amazing start to a game. So yes, I'm going to leave that there then, but that is exactly what's happened with the War Z, because it took me a long time today to try and collect all that information together because so much stuff just went off. If you just bear me a second, there's screaming children outside, so while I wait for them to pass I shall drink a brew. So the other thing I want to talk about this week is THQ. THQ haven't been doing great lately. I love their games, obviously do a little few Steamers in there as well, but the point is THQ, I think they're a good company, and they've been going down and down and down, and then they've now filed for bankruptcy. So everyone's like, no, THQ's gone, and everyone's worried about all them games that was going to be promised over the horizon. But there is a silver lining. So what's happened is the THQ boss has come forwards and actually said that somebody has actually purchased THQ, and what they'll be doing is they're going to pay for all the actual debts that the company actually owes. On top of it, they're actually going to foresee that make sure all the games which are actually announced and unannounced are actually going to get properly slated out there on the shelf so we can still buy them. So all them games that you've been worried about, we can still buy. And then THQ actually gave this in a press conference, simply saying, whatever happens, the teams and products look likely to end up together in good hands. That means you can still pre-order Metro Last Light, Company of Heroes 2, South Park Stick of Truth. Our teams are still working on these titles as you read this, and all our other rumoured titles such as the 4th Saints Row and Homefront sequel, a lot more are still now in the works, which is awesome. So not only are you going to get them stuff out that they're working on, all the rumoured stuff is still going along as well. So it looks like THQ is still living and breathing. It's just obviously under a new management and they're going to pay off all the debts. The only thing I can pray is this new management isn't EA, and I haven't got any EA news. I've just only realised the word EA just then. I should have just searched for some, but the point stands, I hope it's not EA, and to be fair I don't think it is, because I think EA is one of them people who just stand back and go, oh, we've got THQ, and tell everybody. So hopefully it's not them. So the last thing I want to talk about is a thing called Operation Game Over. Now this thing is, I think, absolutely amazing. It's a great idea, but it does need to be just slightly refined a little bit because there's a few issues with it. But the point stands that ages ago, a 19-year-old boy actually went and met a 12-year-old boy and sexually assaulted him. And it kind of says that obviously people are meeting people off Xbox Live and stuff like that, and it kind of got people talking about it. So this thing called Operation Game Over was created, and the idea is that obviously if you're a registered sex offender, you go on the sex offenders list, and one of the things they actually say is you need to actually tell us all your email addresses and your net handles and stuff like that, so obviously we can keep tabs on you and such and whatnot. And what it is, they've got a massive database of all these sexual offenders, and what they do is they give the email addresses to Xbox Live, and they also give it to PlayStation Network. And then what they've done is gone through, checked for any activity on them email addresses, and instantly banned them. So it's instantly wiped off 3,200 sex offenders off Xbox Live and PlayStation Network. Now to top that off, they've now handed their names to THQ, Funcom and NCSoft, which have now actually chucked in another 2,100 people also been banned from the service. So on one hand, a lot of people are going, that's great. Like, for instance, if you've got children, you know, your children's going to be a bit more safe and knowing there's about 5,000 paedophiles removed from the service. But the problem is, it wasn't just 5,000 paedophiles. This is sexual offenders and not paedophiles. And the problem stands here. Now, on one hand, I think this is absolutely brilliant. Get the pedos off the service. We don't want the pedos. Remove them. But you've got a few people in there have just sexually assaulted some people, and straight away you might be like, Jesus Christ, you're a junkie, don't stick up for sexual assault. But it's not necessarily sexual assault. You've got a few people in there that are 18 and had sex with their girlfriend who was 17. They may have been partners for 5-6 years, but the parents didn't like the idea of the girl being sexually active, so they've gone to the police, and that's gone to court, and now he's been classed as a sexual offender because he had sex with an underage girl, which actually was only 1 year younger. So there is a few little people in there that necessarily aren't going to rape your children. They're just going to have sex with their girlfriend. They've been a long time together. So there's a few in there, and it's a shame that obviously they've been caught in that and ripped out of Xbox Live as well. So that's what I mean by it. So for the question of the week then, I'm going to chuck out there, do you think Operation Game Over is actually a good idea? Now, the idea of stopping the paedophiles is amazing, but I'm simply going to put it out there. If you have to have it just 100% all sexual offenders banned, or none at all, which would you prefer? Because I do think it's pretty upsetting that a few people that just did something slightly wrong have been affected, but obviously the 98% of paedophiles, I don't know the exact number, but the point is, I do want the pedos off there. But do you think Operation Game Over is a good thing? So that's it, and this is probably going to be the last time I see you before Christmas, so I hope you've got all your presents together. As I said, I've got all mine. The only problem is I've just got to get 1 or 2 more bits and bobs for the parents, the little nitty-tatty things, and that involves me going into town on Sunday, which is Christmas Eve, and it's going to be horrible. So fingers crossed I can just blast all the way through that and then just finish off the night in a nice Christmassy pub. So I hope it all goes well, and I hope everyone has a great Christmas. I hope that Santa Claus brings all them presents that you've been wanting for, and I hope you just have a great, merry, gay old time. So that's it, guys. I've done well, but I'm going to take it off last minute just because it is doing my head in. So that's me done, guys. I shall chat to you after Christmas, and thank you very much for watching. Cheers, guys. Bye. Oh yeah, and James Michael Prescott, if you ever say you like EA again on Xbox Live, I will kill you.